Anyway, the whole point of this was just to kind of tell my story a little bit about how God's kind of worked in my life and the story that He's made in my life. So it starts before my freshman year of high school, but that's kind of where we're gonna start off and just kind of be my story. But before then, I've had a lot of friends that knew Christ and knew what that meant and knew God and really wanted me to learn about that. So. Alright, this might work better.
Yeah.
Alright, so anyway, like I was saying, so my story is going to start about my freshman year of high school, but I'm going to start a little bit before then and just tell you kind of a little bit about what happened in my life prior to then. I had a lot of friends that were Christians and knew what that meant. I was not one of those. I was just kind of out to have a good time continually, and that was just my main focus of life. I thought that's kind of what life was about, just have a good time. And so going through that a little bit, and people were telling me, God has a plan for your life, and they kept telling me these things like that. And it's kind of like, what does that mean? Who is God? What is that about? And so just having a little bit of background in that, and then telling me, Jesus came and died on the cross for my sins was something really new for me. And I was just kind of like, okay, I don't know what that means. What is a sin? But just from talking to a few friends, they kind of explained a few things to me about what sin was and how it was things that we did that were not good, and that not only people would look down on, but that God would look down on. But anyway, just with that aside, my freshman year of high school came along, and I got really involved in things like drugs and stuff like that my freshman year, and so I got into a pretty bad addiction with cocaine, and it just got to where every night was a new high, a new fun, just out to do whatever I could. Then one night, it was New Year's Eve of that year, and we were all hanging out and big party, and I had overdosed that night. So sat here and had tons of drugs in my system, and I was just laying on the floor. I was fully awake, but my airway closed off, and I couldn't breathe anything at all. And I don't know about y'all, but that was a nerve-wracking experience for me, for sure. A lot of questions went through my mind just about what my friends told me about, who God was and, what Christ was about. And that's kind of like, what does that mean? Like, I'm here, I'm about to die. I knew it. And I was scared. I was really scared. And as I laid there, the only thing I knew to do was just to pray. And I didn't even know what that meant. I was just taking a stab at it and talking through the air, what I thought, but really just looking towards God. So anyway, in that prayer, I just kind of sat there and I was like, God, I don't know what life's about. I've lived my life to have a good time, just to kind of be around other people and just do whatever I could to have fun. That's what life's about. And I was asking, I was like, was that really worth it? Was that what my life should be about? And it scared me. And hearing about heaven and things, being around Texas, it's very common, but I know a lot of places in the world it's not. Heaven isn't even thought of, but being in Texas, you hear a lot about heaven and God and Christ and all these different things, and it's just kind of like, I don't know anything about that. And one of the big things that a friend told me is that in order to go to heaven, you have to believe in Jesus Christ and that He came to earth and died for my sins. And at this time, I was definitely knowing that I was in sin. I just got done doing a ton of drugs. So anyway, while I was laying there, I was still awake and I couldn't breathe. And anyway, I said the prayer, and I was just like, Lord, I don't know what to believe, but I want to believe in Your Son. I need to learn how to do that. And I just told Him I needed Him. It was definite truth, and I don't know. Like I said, it was a really scary time, but I finished the prayer, and as I finished that, I sat there and I took a deep breath, and I was fully sober. And it was definitely a terrifying experience just to know that I was just saved by a prayer to an unknown God to me. And so from that night, I got up and I walked out of the room. I was like, I'm done with this. And since then, I haven't turned back. But it's just been really gratifying, because throughout my high school career from there, I just learned about God and Christ and who He was. And you know, I can look back at that experience on that New Year's Eve night and just be like, you know, God really worked in my life, and He saved me for that. And it was definitely great. But you know, in the Bible it talks about, you know, coming from the grave and coming to eternal life. But that's a lot of spiritual. But God just so happened to take that spiritual story and make it a physical story in my life. And it's really just amazing just to think about that, and just think about how He's able to work through us. And you know, God has a plan for all of your lives, just as they told me. And I'm just really excited to see what plan He has in each one of your lives, and just hear about the stories that you're able to bring. And you know, if you have any questions about God and about, you know, the story that He might have in your life, talk to any of us in these blue shirts. That's what this is about. It's just to talk to as many students as we can and let them know about how God's worked in my life and how they've worked in their lives. Each one of us has our own unique story about how He's done something different. So, if you don't mind, if you have some time and y'all are really interested, find someone in a blue shirt and just talk to them. Come and talk to me. We'd all be just more than happy to talk to y'all.
Thanks, Caleb. Give it up for him. Dude, that is just so awesome, just to see how God physically just came into your life and turned you around. And so, as Caleb was saying, the reason why we're wearing these shirts is because we agree with him, that God is so awesome and He can work in everyone's life. So, all y'all out there, if you have the shirt on, just try to go out and find some people and let them know about how God affected your life, and maybe tell them a little bit about Caleb. And thanks for coming out. And also, we'll probably Caleb will be speaking again in about 15 minutes. So if y'all see some more people, just tell them to swing by. And thanks for coming.